Hey guys, welcome back to Bino Sester Malka's channel. On today's video, we are going to check out this game. This is Santorini, and this is the New York version. Now, I have never played any of the Santorinis before, and when I saw this was on like super sale, it was like 24 hours, not even on Prime Day, but I'm like, you know what? Let's check this game out. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're going to start off with an unboxing of Santorini. I'm going to take you down for a gameplay, and then we're going to finish with my thoughts on this game. So first of all, this is a huge box. I don't know if you can tell from here, but this is a relatively large box, and if you're worried about shelf space, this is definitely something to consider. On the plus side, this box is gorgeous. Whoever designed it, huge thumbs up, because you got like the shiny aspect, got the Statue of Liberty. It's just aesthetically pleasing. The side of the box, it's pretty simple, but it does give this like official nice look on the shelf, and the back is just as beautiful. So I guess the big size is something that comes along with a beautiful game. In this game, you have, of course, the instructions. The instructions, in my opinion, they're not too bad. They're pretty digestible, it's pretty easy to read, and there's tons of illustrations along the way, and like you see, it's 2 pages long. Plus, there's what I like to call a little bit of a cheat sheet to help you get started, so that's definitely a plus. One thing I want to point out in the instructions, for a beginner, which right now we're beginners, it does offer some sort of beginner gameplay, and that's really nice, but we'll get to that later. Next, you have the board. I do appreciate the board is not huge. It's pretty nice size. It's like this. It is a little bit 3D, so the pieces can go in, but like I said, it's nice size, and it takes up enough space that everyone's not squished, but it doesn't like overwhelm your table. So that's another feature that's kind of nice. Next, you have these cards, and every player is going to get one. There's 4 of them, and it kind of shows you a little bit about each player and a little guide on how to play. But again, we'll get to that in the gameplay. There are 4 different types of cards. You have groups, and in each group you get to choose who you want to play for that game. So the engineer's the only one that stays the same, but then you have these, you have a crane, and the builders, so you have a crane operator, so he has his own deck. You have you got the foreman, and again, they're all color-coded, and just in case color is an issue, there's the little symbol on top, and that makes it really easy to identify. So next we have the workers, and you have they're the mover, sorry, there's the arrow, and they're green. And so you have your tour bus driver, you have, oh, here's another, yeah, we didn't really put it back, I guess, whoever played last. We have your NYPD officer. These are purple, these are marked by the star, and I'm not going to go through all of them, you'll see it when you get it, but one thing I do want to point out is that there's each time you play, I'm going to show you on the board, you have to play with the engineer, and then you can choose any of these 3. So the fact that there's like 3 or 4 decks per person gives you 3 or 4 different ways to play, and you can mix and match it. So that's definitely a plus in terms of you want a game that'll last. Now for the fun part of the game, you have your people movers, and there are 2 of each color. So there's 2 reds, and I do like the colors are a little different. 2 blues. You have this kind of beige guy, and I just want to point out the beige guy and the white guy, sometimes you get confused. People mix them up, so, you know. And then you have your black guy, a dark gray guy. And these are kind of cute, and I'll show you how to play. And last, you have the building, so you have skyscrapers. And something that I want to point out is that in the skyscrapers, they're all different types, as you could see, of skyscrapers. And that just adds a level of beauty. If you are allowed to put out a skyscraper, well then guess what? You can actually choose and make the game aesthetically pleasing. Next, you have your buildings, and they stack up on top of each other. Stack up 3. There's windows, and they're just cute. They are well made. They're sturdy plastic. You have your roofs to top off the building. And last but not least, you have the Statue of Liberty. So if any of these pieces got your attention, like it did mine, give this video a thumbs up, and let's play Santorini, New York. So thankfully, setting up New York Santorini is not that complicated. You put the board in the center, and like I said, it's not such a big board, so that's definitely a plus. There are 5 players, and if you look closely at the board, just give it Each player, has 2 tokens, and they match player 1 and player, oh, it all fell down. All right, so we'll do this together, okay? So you match it up. Player 1 would go there, and then you find the second player 1 spot. You find your player 2 spot, and then your second player 2 spot, player 3 spot, and so on and so forth until all of the players have a place. Then, after you chose what you're playing with, you put these cards. These cards are really nice because they're just an overview of the character and what they're going to do. So in case you forget, you have this little cheat guide through, and it also reminds you that one of each worker is in play, and of course the engineer. Now, once you have the characters you're playing with, you take the cards. See, each one has their own deck, which is something I do like, is that it's always changing. This time we're playing with iron worker, police officer, subway operator, engineer, but if I choose, let's say, to put back the NYPD officer, I'll just go through the purple deck and choose another one. So once I have them all together, I will shuffle the cards as such, and now all of the cards are together, making for a new deck. And like I said, the game is always different. Now every player gets 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really simple. I look at my cards, and then I have this little guy, which basically, in my opinion, it is another cheat sheet, but I didn't find it actually, we were annoyed with it. It just made the table messier, so you can play with it or not. That's your choice. Now I'm going to look at my cards and see there's 2 ways, 2 things I want. Number 1, these each give me the chance to move, and number 2, these on top give me a chance to potentially grab the Statue of Liberty. And you need that, I'll explain later. So let's say I decide that I want to build a skyscraper to stop someone. So I put this down, everyone goes 1, 2, 3 over, and we put it down. Now on my turn, there's 2 things I have to do. I have to move. So I'm going to be blue. I'm going to move this guy here. And then I get to build, as it says at the bottom, so it says at the bottom here, build a skyscraper. So I build a skyscraper here. Let's say I'm blocking this player. Now, 2 things to keep in mind. Because I have the highest number and I have the Statue of Liberty, I go last. So technically the other players will go first. They will do their cards. So let's say red player got number 10 ironworker, and he can build a tower. So let's say the red guy is going to move here and is going to build a tower over here. Okay? So the point is to follow the instructions on the cards, and let's say the black guy, he's a subway out. He got subway operator. He can go anywhere that he wants, and he can move through buildings because, of course, you know the subway. So that's a kind of cute feature. The subway can go anywhere. Now, how do you win the game? Let's just do a few more moves, actually. NYPD officer can go on top. You can jump 1 to the next, so I can jump 1 level, and so on and so forth. Now, let's say, for argument's sake, I put 1 here, and this player has a Statue of Liberty. Now, if this player has a Statue of Liberty, they win the game by putting the Statue of Liberty on top. But let's say I'm blue, and I move here. I build a roof, if my card allows me to do so, and I just officially blocked this player. Now, there are 3 ways to win. As you see, if I jump on top of a building and have a Statue of Liberty in my turn, boom, I win. Another way to win is if, let's say, I surround this player, and this player has nowhere to move on either side. Guess what? Players take off a piece. And slowly but surely, you block other players. And, of course, the last player standing is the winner. So the goal of the game is to either get the Statue of Liberty and be on a third platform. To be on a third platform with the Statue of Liberty, I win. Or I have to make sure that there are no moves for the other player, and then, of course, I win. Now, as you can see here, relatively, this is a very simple game. We were playing a game the other day, and somebody happened to have just been in the right place in the right time with the Statue of Liberty, and like 2 or 3 moves later, they just won, you know. It's a very simple game. It's strategy involved. These pieces are adorable, and it's a building game. Yeah, there's not much more I can say about this. So if you want to hear my opinion, well then, follow me, give this video a thumbs up, and let me know if you like Santorini. You've seen the gameplay. What do I think of Santorini, New York? 1 being I love it, 2 being you decide, and 3 being stay away. I'm going to give Santorini, New York a 2, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, there's kind of is a lot to set up, and there's a lot going on. but at the same time, it's a relatively simple game. You have 5 cards in your hand, and you have to choose what to play. Now, I'm a beginner at this, so maybe my judgment's a little bit off, but I found it kind of lacking something. It was kind of a luck game, but kind of a strategy game. And while I tried to do my best to win, and you win some, you lose some, I found it was lacking something, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Like certain games, like boom, won right away just because there happened to have been a building and you happen to have got the Statue of Liberty, so you won. But on the same note, now I haven't tried it. I might consider playing it with a larger group of people, so this way there's more strategy. But at the same time, you put a few skyscrapers in the right spot, and 1 or 2 players are right out of the game right away. So in my opinion, I'm not mad that I have this game. I think it does have a lot to offer in terms of strategy. I think this is the perfect game to introduce younger children to more complex games because it's aesthetically beautiful. But at the same time, is it a game I'm going to pick up and play often? Probably not. It didn't do it for me. But at the same time, I do consider the fact that there's multiple decks of cards, so there are multiple ways to play. So bear all this in mind. If you have different opinion, I really love to hear it, because just because I'm not so fond of Santorini doesn't mean that you're not. So if you like Santorini, or maybe want to give me some suggestions on how to play, head over to the description box below. I'm going to leave a link to Santorini. If you're going to decide to buy it, please click on it. And I'm going to leave a link to my Instagram account. So if you're interested in sharing a different view on Santorini, I'd love to hear it. Because you know what? This was my opinion, and yours matters too. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a good day.